Eleanor Roosevelt, the First Lady who changed the world. In the 20th century, Eleanor Roosevelt became one of the most influential women in American and international history. Born in New York City in 1884, Anna Eleanor Roosevelt came from a prominent political family connected to future United States President Theodore Roosevelt. Despite her family background, Eleanor experienced personal loss and loneliness early in life. Her father died when she was young, and her mother also passed away during Eleanor's childhood. Those experiences deeply shaped her character. Over time, Eleanor Roosevelt developed a strong sense of discipline, independence, compassion, and responsibility toward others. In 1905, she married Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who would later become the 32nd President of the United States. As Franklin Roosevelt's political career grew, Eleanor Roosevelt became increasingly involved in social issues, public service, and political work. Her role expanded even further after Franklin Roosevelt contracted polio in 1921, an illness that permanently affected his ability to walk. During this difficult period, Eleanor Roosevelt became one of his strongest political allies and supporters, helping him remain active in public life and national politics. When Franklin Roosevelt was elected president in 1932 during the Great Depression, the United States faced widespread unemployment, poverty, and economic collapse. Eleanor Roosevelt entered the White House during one of the most difficult periods in American history, but she would transform the role of First Lady forever. Rather than remaining primarily ceremonial, Eleanor Roosevelt became deeply involved in journalism, humanitarian work, political communication, and social advocacy. She held regular press conferences, wrote newspaper columns, gave speeches, and traveled extensively throughout the country. She visited factories, coal mines, hospitals, schools, and struggling communities, often reporting directly to the president about the conditions she witnessed. At a time when women in politics were often expected to remain silent or secondary, Eleanor Roosevelt became one of the most publicly active and influential first ladies the United States had ever seen. She openly supported civil rights during a period of racial segregation in America. She advocated for equal opportunities for African Americans and spoke publicly against racial discrimination, even when doing so created political controversy. Eleanor Roosevelt also supported women's rights, education, youth programs, workers' rights, and humanitarian causes. During World War II, she traveled internationally to visit American troops, military hospitals, and wartime facilities. Her visits encouraged soldiers and helped strengthen morale during the global conflict. Many Americans came to view Eleanor Roosevelt as a powerful public figure in her own right, rather than simply the president's wife. After President Franklin Roosevelt died in 1945, Eleanor Roosevelt continued her public service instead of retreating from public life. President Harry Truman appointed her as a delegate to the newly formed United Nations. There, Eleanor Roosevelt became one of the leading figures involved in drafting the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, adopted by the United Nations in 1948. The document established important international principles concerning human dignity, equality, freedom, and human rights. Because of her humanitarian leadership and international influence, President Truman later referred to Eleanor Roosevelt as First Lady of the World. Throughout her life, Eleanor Roosevelt became known for resilience, diplomacy, intelligence, compassion, and tireless public service. She transformed the role of First Lady and became one of the most respected women of the 20th century. History remembers Eleanor Roosevelt not only as a First Lady, but as a global humanitarian leader whose influence reached far beyond the White House.